next guest is an Emmy-nominated actor and comedian you know from Billy on the Street and movies like The Lion King and Bros. His audio memoir, Billy on Billy, will be available May 19th. Please welcome back to the show our very good friend, Billy Eichner, everybody. This is very exciting, Billy. I'm very happy you have a memoir.
Thank you.
A very unique choice for someone with as iconic a voice as yours to make it an audio memoir.
Yes. Well, let's face it. My fans can't read, you know.
Yeah.
But
that's of course a giant hurdle.
No, my fans are very smart and funny, and I love them. And I wanted to give them a special experience. You know, I've never done a podcast or anything like that, but I have this character that I'm very associated with from Billy on the Street.
Yep.
It's very loud, it's very chaotic, and I love that show and I'm grateful for it, but I wanted people to have an opportunity to hear my real voice.
Yeah.
You know, and to actually see me as a human and not a maniac.
Yeah.
And I also love when entertainers I love do their own audiobook.
Yeah.
You know, especially if it's someone I've loved for a long time. It's like listening to a friend talk to you for a few weeks, a few months, and I wanted my fans to have that experience.
That's really lovely. You talk a lot about your New York upbringing.
Yes.
I mean, Billy on the Street is the character Billy on the Street is one of the most iconic New York characters of the last 20 years.
Wow.
But
that's
you,
nice.
You were in this iconic era. You grew up in the 80s and the 90s. What was your experience being a kid in New York in the 80s and 90s?
Well, I'm so lucky because I was this pop culture, show business obsessed kid growing up in Queens, right? Like 20 minutes outside of the city. And in an analog time before social media and the internet gave everyone everywhere access to everything, I had access to everything. And my parents always encouraged me. They saw from a very young age that I had this crazy passion for performing in pop culture. And they never tried to dissuade me, you know, and they would take me to theater. And they were not rich people. We had no show business connections, but they really saw how much I loved it. And they wanted me to be exposed to everything that I loved creatively. So the book is really a love letter to them, ultimately.
Yeah, it's very sweet. Debbie and Jay.
Yeah.
You have an impression. For those of us who, obviously in the book, we get to hear what Jay sounded like. Give us a
well, the great thing about the audiobook is that I do impressions. And we have clips from Billy on the Street throughout the book, which is really fun also. I think people will enjoy that. But yeah, one of my favorite parts of the book is getting to kind of recreate my dad. Both my parents passed away. My mom passed away when I was 20. My dad passed away when I was 32, just before Billy on the Street became a TV show. So they didn't get to see everything that happened to me, but they were so loving and supportive when I was a kid. And again, I'm so excited for people to be introduced to them through the book.
You talk about a storytelling competition.
Yes.
And that your dad, again, obviously it would have been great if he'd seen Billy on the Street, but he always saw like greatness in you.
Oh, he knew who he was dealing with.
Yeah.
Yes, and you know, actually, I have a story from the book I'd love to read about my dad, if that's okay, if I read an excerpt from the book. So just to paint the picture, because this comes in chapter 5, I'm talking about my dad, Jay Eichner, born in the Bronx. He was an older guy, much older than my mom. He was in the Korean War, you know, a very like kind of old school dude, and then he had me, you know? And so this is a little story about my dad. Chapter 5, my dad. When I was in 4th grade, I took up a new extracurricular activity. Was it soccer, you ask? Perhaps the spelling bee? No, it was something even gayer and nerdier than spelling bee, if you can imagine. I participated in my school's storytelling contest. Except for one other boy, the other competitive storytellers were all girls. Being the little performer I always was, it suited me well to stand on a stage and dramatically tell a short story. And it really rang my bell to figure out how to do this better than everyone else. I performed The Nightingale, a classic children's story by Hans Christian Andersen. I won the first contest at my own school, which allowed me to advance to the district level competition. It was there, on a Saturday morning, that I stood on the stage in a very large, mostly empty school auditorium in front of the dozen or so parents and 3 judges who were the only ones to show up to watch us, and I killed. And when the judges got up to announce the winner, and they said, the winner is Billy Eichner. Jay Eichner, my father, usually a stoic man, a few words and never that visibly emotional one way or the other, immediately leapt to his feet, threw his fist up in the air triumphantly, and in this mostly empty, cavernous school auditorium shouted very loudly, "Way to go!" As if I had just thrown a buzzer beater in the last seconds of a championship basketball game or scored a winning touchdown, when all I had done is won the 4th grade storytelling contest. His big, bellowing, Bronx-born voice bounced off the walls and echoed off the vast, dark span of empty seats in the school auditorium on a Saturday morning in Queens. And he stayed on his feet, beaming. This was when I was in 4th grade in 1986. I'm 47 years old now, but I can still hear him saying those words. There's a Stephen Sondheim song, Children Will Listen, in the finale of the musical Into the Woods, a show about parents and children, about how adults have to remember that children listen more than you think. They listen and learn and remember everything you say and do. They retain everything. And that, way to go, I have retained for the rest of my life.
What a guy. Jay Eichner, everybody.
Jay Eichner, my dad.
Jay Eichner. We also talked. You had a half brother who was older than
my
you.
brother Steve Eichner, still around, great
photographer.
Yes, he's a photographer.
And he was very loving because at a young age you were already ready to be an actor.
I was trying desperately to be a famous child actor in New York.
And you were very lucky because you had a brother who said, "Come on down, come to the East Village." Where was it?
Yes, he lived in the East Village back when it was dangerous.
And you, the child I'm about to show, went down to take these headshots.
That was me.
I mean, this is one era. I mean by the way, you have these not because you had them. Steve had them, right?
Steve had them, and when he found out about my book, he sent them to me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. And it's weird because you said you weren't an athlete, and yet this photo.
There you go. I think I did have a manager at the time, and I think this photo came from her telling me to basically butch it up a little bit.
Wait, you were the sweater vest bad boy.
This is the Stussy hat I was very proud of. Yes.
You do have. Oh, this is amazing too. Like, let's just see.
So that's Jay Eichner.
Yeah.
That's me and my parents, and Debbie Eichner, Jay Eichner. They're all over the book. You'll hear about them. And that's my cat Jovi, named after Bon Jovi.
Yeah, great.
Who I was obsessed with. It was the '80s.
You also have an iconic New York moment coming up. You're throwing out a first pitch at a Mets game. Not just a Mets game, a Mets-Yankees game. So
this is a big mistake.
To me, you are a peak New Yorker at a sporting event that is peak New York.
Yes, I'm very concerned.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, how could you say no? I'm so honored.
You have to do it.
And I grew up in Queens.
You have to do it.
And the book is about growing up in Queens at Citi Field, you know. But I was the worst person on my Little League team.
Yeah.
You know, the one time I hit the ball, they were so used to me striking out all the parents and everyone who sat in the bleachers that they all stood up and cheered the one time I hit the ball, which actually made me feel worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was terrible. I was in the distinct position of being the tallest boy in my class, but always picked last for basketball.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
I was a terrible athlete, and now I'm going to throw out the first pitch at the Mets-Yankees game.
I would just hammer home to them, like, constantly while you're walking to the mound, be like, he's from Queens. Like, make sure they know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so the crowd's on my side.
Yeah, they own it.
But it is a sign to everyone out there, right? You can be the worst kid on your Little League team and still get to throw out the first pitch at the Mets-Yankees game.
Absolutely. Just be good at other.
Exactly.
Just be good at
Exactly.
You guys, this is Billy Eichner, everybody. Billy on Billy is available. Here it is. May 19th. He's also going on a book tour.
Oh, yeah.
Check out dates for that as well. Look at all these wonderful places. We'll be right back with Jill Cartman, everybody.